Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Welcome to all for this session on Ramayana to chapter 74 of Yuddha Kanda. In the previous chapter, we saw the great exploit by Indrajitu once again because of his ability to fight a war being invisible to others because of the boon of Brahma that is causing the torment to the entire world. And once again, he did the formal rituals which made him invisible, and then he waged a war against Vanaras, almost wounding every Vanara warrior who is now fell to earth, and finally, even on Rama and Lakshmana. Rama, having considered the one who is fighting invisible as a coward and refuses to fight against him, and everybody was throwing the weapons only in the direction from which the arrow was coming, as Indrajit himself was invisible. Finally, even Rama and Lakshmana fell in the battle, and then, announcing his great victory, Indrajit returned to Lanka. Seeing the two Raghavas lying unconscious on the field, the army of monkeys and their leaders lost courage, nor did Sugriva, Nila, Angada, or Jambavan dare to take action. Thereupon Vibhishana, foremost among the wise, seeing the general despondency with his sagacious words, reassured those warriors belonging to the Simian king, saying, although these two princes are lying here without consciousness, have no fear, you have no cause to despair. It is in order to honor Swayambhu's pledge that they have allowed themselves to be struck down by Indrajit with his rain of missiles. Indrajit received that excellent weapon that is not to be withstood from Brahma. It is in order to render homage to that god that the two princes have fallen in the fight. It is therefore not the moment to lose heart. Having paid honor to Brahma's weapon, Maruti answered Vibhishana, saying, let us console those who still live among the army of the monkeys, which has been decimated by that celestial shaft. Thereupon, that with torches in their hands, those two heroes, Hanuman and the foremost of the Titans, Vibhishana, began to range the battlefield together during the night, and they beheld the earth covered with tails, hands, breasts, feet, fingers, necks, and severed limbs scattered here and there, from which the blood flowed and monkeys as large as hills fallen on the field, their weapons still glowing. Thereafter Vibhishana and Hanuman beheld Sugriva, Angada, Nila, Sharaba, Gandhamadana, Jambavan, Sushena, Vegadarshi, and as also Mainda, Nala, Jyotirmukha, Dvivida, and all those monkeys lying on the battlefield. 66 crores of brave monkeys had been overthrown in the fifth and the last period of the day by Brahma's cherished weapon. While looking on that formidable army that had fallen under the blows of the enemy and that resembled the waters of the sea, Hanuman, accompanied by Vibhishana, began to search for Jambavan, and beholding that aged one, bowed with a weight of years, riddled with 100 arrows, the valiant son of Prajapati, like unto an extinguished brazier, the grandson of Polastya rushed towards him, that is Vibhishana, rushed towards Jambavan and said, O hero, is it possible that those penetrating shafts did not cut off your existence? He was asking whether he is still alive. Hearing the voice of Vibhishana, Jambavan, the foremost of the bears, who was scarcely able to speak, answered, saying, O Indra among the Nairaratas, though you who are full of valor I recognize your voice. O pious one, say whether he, on account of whom Anjana and Matarishwan are happy parents, that hero Hanuman still whether he is alive. On this inquiry from Jambavan, Vibhishana replied, "Why do you remain silent why- concerning the two princes and question me on the subject of Maruti?" Because he didn't ask about the welfare of Rama and Lakshmana, he directly asked about whether Maruti is alive. Who is it that King Sugriva, Angada, and even Raghava do not inspire you with an affection as great as that which you bear for the son of Vayu, O venerable one? Hearing Vibhishana's words, Jambavan answered, "Hear, O tiger among the Niraratas, as to why I inquire concerning Maruti. It is like this. The valiant Hanuman, if he is alive, even if the army has been destroyed, it is not destroyed. If Maruti yet lives, oh dear friend, he, the rival of Maruta, the equal of Vaishwanara in power, then there is still the possibility of survival." At that moment, the son of Marutha approached that venerable one with reverence, paying obeisance to him and touching his feet, and the voice of Hanuman moved his heart, so that the prince of the Plavagas felt new life had been bestowed on him. Thereafter, the illustrious Jambavan said to Hanuman, "Come here, O mighty one. It is for you to deliver the monkeys. None other has the power, and you are their best friend. This is the moment to demonstrate your prowess. I see no other. Do yourself bring joy to those brave troops of bears and monkeys. Heal those two unfortunate beings, Rama and Lakshmana, of their wounds. Prepare to cross far above the great path of the ocean in order to reach Himavat, the highest of the mountains, O Hanuman, and there direct your course to that golden peak Rishabha, difficult to scale and of an extreme altitude, where the summit of Mount Kailasa will be seen by you, O slayer of your enemies. Between the peaks of these two mountains, Kailasa and Rishabha, you will behold the mountain of medicinal herbs rising in unparalleled splendor, where every kind of healing plant abounds. O foremost of the monkeys, you will discover four plants growing on the summit, the radiance of which illumines the 10 regions. They are Mrita Sanjeevini, Vishalyakarani, Savarnakarani, and Sandhani, herbs of rare value. Gather all four, O Hanuman, you, the son of bearer of fragrance, and return to aid the monkeys by reviving them. At these words of Jambavan, Hanuman, born of Maruta, felt himself infused with tremendous power as the ocean heaves with the force of the wind. Standing on the summit of a high mountain which he crushed with his weight, the valiant Hanuman looked like a second mountain. Trodden down by the monkey's feet, the mountain sunk, unable to endure the load that pressed so heavily upon it, and the trees fell to the ground and caught fire on account of the rapid course of the monkey, while the peaks trampled down by him were shattered, thus crushed its trees, rocks, and soil torn up. It became impossible for the monkeys to stand erect on that high mountain, which was shaking, and Lanka, with its great gateways destroyed, its dwellings and basins crumbling, full of terror stricken titans, appeared to be reeling. Then the son of Maruta, like unto a mountain, trod that support of the earth underfoot. causing the earth and sea to shake, the earth and sea to quake. Pressing the mountain under his feet, he opened his mouth like a fearful jaws of Vadava and began to roar with all his might in order to strike terror into the Titans. And when they heard that formidable clamor, those lions among the Titans in Lanka were paralyzed with fear. Thereafter, paying obeisance to Samudra, Maruti, the scourge of his enemies, possessed of redoubtable courage, for Raghava's sake, prepared himself for the undertaking, raising his tail which resembled a serpent, flattened his ears, and opening his mouth wide, like unto the entry to Vadava, he sprang into the air with an impetuous bound, drawing trees with their branches, stones, and the rubble of monkeys in his wake, and borne away by the force of the wind produced by the movement of his arms and thighs. Deprived of resistance, they all fell into the ocean. Then the son of Vayu, stretching his two arms that resembled the coil of serpents, with a strength equal to the enemy of reptiles, set out in the direction of that celestial peak of the Lord of Mountains, displacing all the cardinal points as it were, and he observed the ocean that rolled on with its garlands of waves, and all the creatures moving in its depths, while he coursed on like the discus loosed by the fingers of Vishnu. Mountains, flocks of birds, lakes, rivers, ponds, vast cities, crowded provinces passed under his gaze as he journeyed on with the swiftness of his father, the wind god. And the agile and courageous Hanuman, the rival of his father in valor, strove to follow the orbit of the sun, and in extreme haste, the foremost of monkeys went on with the speed of the wind, and all the quarters re echoed to the grass sound. Then Maruti, that great monkey full of energy, remembered Jambavan's words, and suddenly Himavat appeared with its many streams, its great number of caves and waterfalls, the many kinds of trees that adorned it, and its peaks like a mass of white clouds, lovely to look upon. Thereafter he approached the king of mountains, and as he drew near that Indra of high mountains, with its golden peaks of great altitude, Hanuman beheld those illustrious and holy retreats of the ascetics, frequented by the foremost of the gods, rishis, and siddhas, and he saw Brahmakosha, Raja, Rajatalaya, Shakralaya, that is Rajatalaya, Shakralaya, Rudrashara, Pramoksha, Hayanana, and the blazing Brahmashiras, and he recognized the servants of Vaivaswat. Thereafter he beheld the Vanhiloka, Vanhyalaya, and Vaishwanaralaya, and Surya Prabha, and the Suryani Bandhana, and Brahmalaya, Shankararamuka, and did he perceive the center of the earth, and Hanuman also discovered the steep mountain Kailasa and the rock of Himavat and Vrisha, sublime and grey golden mountain illumined by the radiations of all the curative herbs, the king of the mountains where all the simples grow. Astonished on beholding that mountain wretched in phosphorescent fires, the son of the Vasava's messenger descended on that lord of hills covered with medicinal herbs in order to gather them. Then the great monkey born of Maruta covered 1,000 leagues ranging that mountain where those specifics grew on that most elevated of peaks. Nevertheless, those sovereign remedies, knowing that Hanuman had come to gather them, made themselves invisible. Whereupon that hero, not being able to see them, grew angry and in his ire began to emit loud cries. Impatient, his glances inflamed, he questioned that mountain, the support of the earth, saying, impels you, you who are of such strength, to show yourself to be without pity for Raghava, O king of the mountains, the hour having struck, overcome by the power of my arms, you shall see yourself shattered to pieces. Thereupon, seizing hold of the crest with its trees, elephants, gold, and many kinds of ore that adorned it, with its summit of jagged peaks and sublime radiant plateaus, he broke it off roughly. Having thus uprooted it, he flew into the air to the great terror of the world, the gods and their leaders, and to the acclamation of innumerable inhabitants of the sky. Thereafter he flew away with the speed of Garuda, carrying that rocky peak which shone like the luminous orb, and he too was filled with radiance as he followed the path of the sun. Coursing thus in the vicinity of that orb, he appeared to be its very image, and that peak spread a great light over the son of the god, who is the bearer of fragrance, so that it appeared as if Vishnu himself, armed with his discus of 1,000 fiery rays, were in the sky. Then the monkeys, observing him, shouted with delight, and he also, on beholding them, emitted tremendous roars. Hearing those cries of triumph, the inhabitants of Lanka set up a dreadful clamor, and Hanuman alighted on a high rock in the midst of the host of monkeys. Thereafter he bowed to the chief monkeys and embraced Vibhishana. Then the two sons of that king of men, having inhaled those wonderful herbs, because Hanuman has placed the mountain down, so they have all inhaled those wonderful herbs, were instantly healed of their wounds, and the others, those valiant monkeys, rose up in their turn, and all the brave Pravagas were instantly cured of their wounds and sufferings, having inhaled those wonderful herbs, and those who had been slain returned to life like sleepers waking when the night is over. From that moment, the monkeys and titans fought in Lanka itself. Since the time, from the beginning, when the monkeys were killed, all those monkeys now returned back to life. Thereafter, on Ravana's command and out of perversity, all the titans struck down in the fight by the valiant monkeys, both wounded and dead, were thrown into the sea. Though the translator here says that it is out of perversity, their bodies are thrown into the sea. In fact, it is a practice that is there existing across the world. Where there is enough of land, people do bury their dead in the land where they have enough land. Where it is an island, where there is a scarcity of land, and of the island being surrounded by the sea, they do the practice of burying their dead in the sea water itself. This is called as Jala Samadhi, because ultimately the dead body need to return to the Panchabhutas. And among the Panchabhutas, something that is easier for them is to put them into the earth so that they will return to the earth. Or they can be put into the water or into the ocean so that they can return to the world. And then the better one, rather than either of these, I mean, it's not difficult, it's not good to say which is better or which is wrong. Putting them into the fire is a third way of doing it, because when they put them into the fire, it neither causes any loss of land, nor it causes any bodies to remain under the water. So people just simply burn them in the fire. Is a third way of doing. And the fourth way of doing it is just leaving them in the open air, like what Parsis do, so that their body will be consumed by the other living beings like the animals or even the trees. And the Vanaras being themselves were the forest dwellers and they consider themselves more as forest animal. Generally, animals in the forest need to be left let there itself whenever they are dead and they are not supposed to be buried anywhere. In fact, sometime back, our government has made it as a rule that every animal that is dead in the forest is brought out of the forest and they try to bury it. And after some time, they started witnessing a thinning of the forest. That was happening because those dead animals were the food to many other creatures, including even the plants and trees. And when they deprived them of those food, of buried dead bodies, so then forests started thinning out, and then they made it as a rule that no dead animal is supposed to be brought out of the forest, and that should be let itself decay within the forest itself. So, in the same fashion, following the same rule, probably the Vanara bodies, whoever is dead, was left to decay there itself wherever they are, while Ravana, being island dwellers, they may be having the practice of burying their dead in the ocean. So all the Titan bodies were thrown into the ocean. So when Hanuman brought the herbs, to the great luck of all the Vanaras, those who were slain since the beginning, whose bodies were lying there, all those wake up as though they were sleeping from their dead state into the live state. However, there were some people who were consumed and devoured by the Kumbhakarna or other titans. Probably they may not able to, but there was a way in which they also returned to the life at the end of this story. Meanwhile, the son of bearer of fragrance, Hanuman of formidable bounds, carried the peak of medicinal herbs back to Himavat and returned with speed to rejoin Rama. He kept the mountain of herbs back there because if it remains in the war field, then none will be able to die, which is not a required or desired condition during a war. That is why he returned that particular mountain back to the Himalayan range. Thus come to the end, chapter 74 of Yuddha Kanda in Ramayana. Namaste Sharada Devi, Mashmira Puramasini, Twamaham Parthaye Nityam, Vidya Danancha Dehime. Bye.